then move on with this news that came out of nowhere. And it literally was one day they have a meet, from what I can gather, they have a meeting and it said they tell the students and the staff that you have, first I heard it was until August. And then it's the end of June, and now it's tomorrow. You on some try and be morally right or whatever. And I'm not saying that morally right stuff that King was talking about. Right. That's different. I'm not talking about that, because ain't no way you putting women and the kids in front of water hoses and police dogs, and they don't give a damn. Excuse me. I'm a teacher, and if I'm not teaching your children, people have a right to come and say, "Hey, look, man, you're not doing what I need you to do for my child." But you have to be involved too, right? So you can't tell me as a parent that you're involved, that you're not doing my child right. I need y'all to correlate this to what's going on around here as well. You can't tell me I'm not doing your child right if you're not involved in the child's life on all levels. The issue that it is now is blatant in everybody's face. Yeah. It's blatant in everybody's face. So we're not sitting there talking about what can we do for residents. We don't care nothing about the residents.
Never about the residents.
It's never about the residents. And the issue that people are having that I see, and they still won't let me come down to the council meeting. When I'm out of school, I'm just going to go. Be out of school in a couple weeks. I'm just going to come to one. I don't care.
So,
Yeah.
Let's see now. Let me turn it up. Oh, my bad. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, we good now?
Put a 2 in there if you can hear
Yeah.
Brother Elliott.
We good? Can you hear? Okay, all right, here we go. All right. So we just had these midterm elections. We got New York. In New York, they got a brother, Muslim brother there that's being elected elected the mayor of New York. We have here in Detroit, we had the first black female mayor elect in Detroit. And, you know, we had some other changes and people are happy and this and that and other and all this other stuff. But let me explain something that I see, and I could be wrong, and I want to be wrong. I've never seen a government shutdown last this long. Okay. As of yesterday, there were over 900 flights that were canceled on Saturday. We have an upcoming holiday, right, which is a travel holiday, and then the next one right after that, which is another travel holiday. So we're talking about not people can't go where they want to go, can't spend their money how they want to spend their money when they want to go travel, either on vacation or go see their loved ones. I think this is done. That was done by design. I've heard that he said he changed the Department of Defense to the Department of War, which is insane. So why would you do that? And then nobody's made any moves to stop this person from being tyrannical. Now, what does that mean for us? I hope and pray that people don't start to think and have belief in the government. Stop doing that. Because the government has shown you and government officials have shown us over and over and over again, whether it be local, state, or national, that the people don't matter. Even though the so-called Constitution was written and it says in there very clearly, for the people, by the people, they ain't talking about you. Because number one, if you don't have any money, you don't have any influence. Okay. Well, it doesn't. Yeah, that's true. But they are warmongers because war makes money. We were dragged into World War One because England got bombed by Germany. That's one. Number two, we're dragged into World War II because the United States was bombed by Japanese in Pearl Harbor. But don't forget, we had the 1929 financial crisis, the 1933 financial crisis with the Dust Bowl, and we had no food. So war is about money. The people that provide the armies, navies, and Marines, and Air Force, or whatever, they're expendable. Because if we look at what happened that started World War One, or started many other wars, whether there be small civil wars in countries or whatever, in other countries or whatever, there are always some people in the background that play the game. And I had to go back and get all of the details back for what happened in World War One and why there was a Austrian prince or whatever who was running Austria, and his murder sparked World War One. Then, of course, there was a slow rise. They knew of Hitler in World War II, but they knew it. But the government also knew what Japan was doing as well to build up its Navy and its Air Force fleet. Okay. So then from there, what we have, it's about money. Every time there's a war situation, it's about money. Regardless of, okay, not regardless, because George Washington was a slave owner. He said that the government, that the government should take care of its business at home and not go abroad. When he left office in 1897, after 2 terms, the very next president, because his people were from Poland, jumped over there in Poland because they were going through the famine, right? The potato crisis. Then it was, we're going to be in other people's affairs. Where 1812 come, now we're playing money, right? But we also, you have to go back, and I see the conversation that you all are having, right? Nixon undercut Johnson to win the presidency in 1968 because he slid in some information to the Vietnamese. No, was it? Yeah, to the Vietnamese in order to not have the war come to a ceasefire underneath Johnson's administration. Johnson was dirty too. Johnson was dirty as well. Hubert Humphrey in 1968 took the fall for Johnson. Hubert Humphrey in 1968 also took the fall for Nixon. So politics is a dirty game. And if we think we're sitting around, oh yeah, well, we got Republican people that's gonna stop him from doing, no, we don't. Or we got Democratic people that's gonna stop him from just change the landscape of everything. You can't put your hands in neither one of those parties. It doesn't matter. You're not gonna get any relief from them. The only relief that you're gonna get from is from your own self and your own people. That's it. We've been eating the seeds of mistrust and distrust amongst us so much that you can't, I promise you, walk down the street today and talk and just look at somebody and watch them look away before they even say anything to you. People won't say, we're still on that same old dumb shit that we was on before. The only time we really showed any real love to each other was in the 60s when we were very clear what we were fighting for. But once again, we're gonna go back to the video. We don't have to go back to it. But the old school brother said what? Hey, once people got crumbs and little tiny corners of the pie, then now all of a sudden we don't have any desire to do this anymore. Because we're waiting for somebody to come and save us. And we looking up in the sky, waiting for the clouds to open. The only thing you're gonna get is precipitation. That's all you're gonna get. You're gonna get wet. Or you're gonna get a sunburn. Because what you think you waiting on ain't coming. But if you don't do for self, and that's the only help we're gonna get is us, not somebody else. Oh, we're gonna get a relief now. We got new governors and we got new this, and they're gonna fight against them. We got how when they send you money? Make it make sense that you have a mayor in New York that says, oh, guess what? You're gonna watch and see what's gonna happen now. But the federal government sends money to every state. This government shutdown is lasting as long as it's lasting for a reason. Because they're doing it on purpose. Somebody's making money on the other side of that. And corporations have been running this government for the longest. Since minimally the 60s. After Kennedy's presidency, then you have these corporations that come in and they help people get elected. They call political action committees. And it's all over the place, especially in this country. We have one group in Texas, it's going to be the cattle ranchers. And those people, as Sister Audrey just said, those people are not going to suffer, but we are. And we're only suffering because we put ourselves in our hands, in ourselves, our lives, and our hands in their hands. We think they're going to do something for us. No, they're not. And I'm not saying not go vote. But your vote means nothing if somebody else is backing somebody's campaign. If somebody else is backing a campaign, what do you think your vote means? No, that person's been bought. And if that person's been bought, they're not going to do anything for the people that they represent. We have to look at that. And we don't. We never even hear locally. If you got one person that gets backed up by a company, you think they're doing anything for the people? They're not going to say, okay, good. I'll take your money to help fill my coffers. No problem. But this is what else is what I'm required from you. And if you can't deliver it, then I don't want your money. And then they have to be, as the old school saying, they have to be ratted up. Such and such company tried to offer me some money. I'm not taking any money because they're not doing anything for the people. And again, I'm not saying don't, if they give it to you, you have to make that decision, but you also have to know that you're in a rat trap too. And when the thing come down, because you're gonna have to do some things for that money. The people aren't passionate enough to buy politicians. What the people should really do is make demands about who's there no matter what. And if they can't see, here's the thing. It's even looking at a little bit of being informed and being taught by Brother Mickey and other people around how politics works is the politicians are not listening to the people. Why? Because we will see them. They would have forums. They'd have community forums in every district and every ward that and I'm not saying this point's not valid, but what people have to do, regardless of who's being backed, is you have to go to these forums and you have to demand that you're going to you're going to elect you, then we demanding something from you. We're going to also have to be able to go and say, look, I don't want, if this company is in my area, what are you doing for us? Why are you here? And trust and believe, the community has money. The community has money. Brother Malcolm said, our issue is not being organized. Now, we ain't broke. If you live in the city of Flint, just go down on Lippincott between Dorn Highway and Center Road. Just go down there. There's a gas station that's open on the corner that sells alcohol and food, or whatever they want to call that. There's 2 party stores in between there, one by I don't know what they call it right now, but it used to be called wasn't a state, to something else.
To you talk about on Lippincott?
Oh yeah, Atherton Terrace. No, not Atherton Terrace.
You're talking about 1011. It was next to the Regency.
The Regency, yeah. Right.
It was Tariq's.
Yeah, and Tariq's is next, and then they opening up a gas station down on the corner. It used to be a party store. And guess who run to those stores? I'm sorry, we're gonna raise our hand and say we do, because they're not. Okay, we go to those stores. The reason why they're there is not because we can't get gas somewhere else. As I'm thinking now, just in that area, and some of it is in Burton, there's 1, 2, 3, at least 6 gas stations around there. Within a 1 block area, 1 city block area, but close to a mile. Do we need that many? How much goddamn driving we doing? Not that much.
Look what you got if you go hit Lapeer.
Lapeer's the same thing.
Who own the store?
Yep. And it ain't us, but we in there. But over there by the Regencies, because of what you have in the Regencies, you put 2 stores there. Or they put 2 stores there. And we own nothing. We don't own either one. And if we work for those stores, we work under the table. But we don't own them. And we don't demand anything from them. No, it's not about it being a big secret, but if we got on just Lippincott, you got 2 big gas stations. On Lapeer, you got a gas station on Lapeer. You got a party store on Lapeer. Then if you go down Dorr Highway to Court Street, you got 2 gas stations on Dorr Highway. Then if you go back to Center Road, you got a big gas station there, and you got 1 at Meyer. That's 6 of them. For what? Y'all competing for the same dollar, and ain't nobody giving us no break. And we don't make any demands. But we're in a government shutdown on purpose, by design, to cause people to suffer. And we shouldn't have to have people suffer if we were brotherly and open and talking about how we love God and act godly towards each other. But we're not doing that. But the difference is, Miss Luna, is those residents got out and said they didn't want that roundabout there. But there's also one right there by 75 on Bristol Road, which I think they're kind of stupid. So if they're putting gas stations everywhere, the only people that don't have their hands in the pot to get a gas station is people that are called minorities in this country, that they don't give some sort of break to. Because I'm quite sure that at 10 or 12, we can get 10 or 12 African people in the, to say we're going to buy a gas station. They're going to say no. And you're not going to get a break. Of course it is. They go, but they give federal funding to those persons that they consider to be allies. And you're absolutely right, Sister Audrey. That's what they do. They put them in poor areas, and you get absolutely nothing from them. So, are we supposed to really put our hands in something or some group or someone or some entity that doesn't have our best interests? Right. There you go. Because at first, Miss Deborah Luna, that one gas station I'm talking about right now that's on the corner of Lippincott Center, they wanted to turn it into a dispensary, but the churches there, one on a run across the street, and then one up the street, said no, they weren't gonna have that. So they had to change, because that's in Burton. Okay. So that's actually in Burton. That's the other side of the dividing line. And they have to that's in Burton. Because the middle of Lippincott divides Flint from Burton, right in the middle. So that those gas stations and those businesses that we're talking about are in Burton, other than the other gas station that's on Dort Highway and Lippincott. The one on Dort Highway and Center, that's Burton. Tariq's is Burton, and so is 1011. So actually, the Regencies is in Burton, but because it's a captive audience or captive residents, they walk to the store because it's close. They get whatever food that they cook in there and sell, and whatever other stuff they want, liquor, whatever they want in there, it's in there. So it's not that there's not money here, it's who are they going to have access to it, as far as that goes. But when we go back to talking about politics, we cannot put our hopes and dreams into somebody who is not going to have our best interests. Oh yeah, well, we got this woman elected mayor, this brother's elected mayor, or whatever, or this person's a council person, or whatever. What you trust them for? $8 to $10 million that'll be leveraged, maybe more. If your person that's supposed to represent you in the area where you live at doesn't really do that, what you keep voting for him for? Go ahead on, big bro.
No, I just laugh.
Yeah. But we keep putting them in, and then they change the rules about being able to pull them out whenever they, because what people do is, if I don't see immediate, and I get it, you got to give them some time, but you also have to go down and listen to their rhetoric. What are they saying? Okay. What are they saying? If they're not saying anything, then you can put pressure on. But again, go down to the council meetings with some decorum. Go down to the council meeting with some decorum and say, I want to know what it is that you're doing for the community in which we live. I've heard people come down there and complain about trees that need to be cut and things like that, and other certain things in property. I get that too, but it's also how you do it. Okay, it's how you do it. You do it a certain way, you're gonna get the result you're looking for. And that's what I was taught by Mr. Cleves. He was the real, don't go there because I'd be on fire as soon as I walked in there and listened to some stupidity. But we also had persons that the agenda was to take care of people. And even if they did move up the ladder and become state reps or whatever, at least we were clear that they were going to take care of the people, period. And they would come back and have community forums, which I don't think we ever had one after the one thing we went to over at Scott School. There hasn't been another community, not that I've heard in the 7th Ward, and that's where I live at. So I'm not saying not trust your politicians, but I'm saying keep a watchful eye with some binoculars and some microscopes and a couple of telescopes about how they're moving. Because if they're not moving for you and they move for somebody else in your community, they don't belong. They're not for you. And you have to get them out of there. But that doesn't mean the cycle's not going to continue. You have to have people that are going to be your representatives that are not going to be purchased and not going to have who they are bought and sold by corporations unless those corporations are doing something else. Oh man, you might as well take that down. The churches ain't going to be interested in doing that. I get you though. That would be legitimate, especially since they put up $420 billion and put it into somebody else's banks last year. Listen to what I just said. $420 billion, and they put it in somebody else's banks. Billion. Not million, not 420,000, not $420. $420 billion last year that they put in somebody else's banks that they making money on. And they sitting around there telling you that you you buying your way in the head. Damn, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna get started on that. Okay. So that's our rant and rave on politics. Don't believe the hype, as Public Enemy would say, because it ain't none. The Native Americans say left wing, right wing, same bird. And we better understand how that goes because that's exactly what it is. Okay. There's not going to be anything any different, regardless of what people say, because they don't control anything, even if they're in there. The government and the taxes and all the people control it. Because if your tax dollars go somewhere, then you have some say. And we have to stop acting like we don't. Because our tax dollars, they use our tax dollars to fund whatever they want to. Even businesses get a break with our tax dollars. Okay. So what's our solution? Number one, okay, I'm not interested in thinking that the church is going to do anything but what the church is going to do. Period. So you can kill that idea that church is going to do anything in the first place. So on the 12th, hold on real quick. This is a sidebar. Big bro, the 12th, the what's thing supposed to open up?
The grocery store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to open up on the 12th. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see how that's gonna go. Because I still I would love to have an idea that it's gonna be legitimate and we can I'm not messing with you, brother Caleb. But you know what? I actually met him in Chicago. Sidebar, real quick. I actually met him in Chicago about 8 or 10 years ago, and we were walking down the street on Michigan Avenue. We were doing a tour. We're doing a study tour of Chicago, and we had gone to the Sabo Museum and the place where Jean Point du Sable started Chicago as a waste, like not a waste station, but a where they sold uh, furs and pelts and things like that. And we were walking down the street, and he was on one side and I was on the other side, and we actually looked at each other like I didn't know who he was, and of course he didn't know who I was. But then later on, so hey man, that was common. Hey, you know. But yeah, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I guess, but they not paying me to be that, so that's cool. But it is what it is. So I appreciate it. But I did get a chance to meet him one time. Now, education. So we did our rant on politics. Don't trust your politicians. Find out what their background and what their connections are. Because that's not, I don't think that's difficult because you just got to kind of watch how they operate. If you go to council meeting, don't go down there mad and angry. Just go ahead on and say, if you go down there every week when they have meeting and you have the same question over and over and over and over and over again, no, that's number one. That's a good way to get them to like look at something. But go down there, be cool, calm, and collected. We can sit around here. We still talking about the water. We still talking about this. We still talking about streets. We still talking about all this other stuff. And demand, hey, look, as a group, and you go down there as a group of people, and don't go down there with one or two people. Go down there with a group of people. Hey, look, we ain't got nothing to do Monday morning, Monday evening. Go down there and sit down and listen to see what's going on. Take notes. Come back to the next council meeting, and you go, hey, look, we have these issues. When can we get them? What's a timeline for them to get corrected? I don't even know if they do leaf pickup. I was out yesterday, scraping leaves in piles. Probably got to pick them up myself. I don't remember. I don't know. Whatever. We doing a lot of other stuff. But at the same time, hey, put them in a pile. Find out if they're gonna do leaf pickup. So even with small stuff, you can get them to, kind of get it, because right now, if you got people afraid to answer you, afraid to talk to you, and that's one thing I will always say, and I will always praise the late Jack Miner and Miss Monica Galloway. She wasn't afraid to come knock on my door, and I appreciate that. Mr. Miner, he wasn't afraid to come knock on our door. I appreciate that. New person, I see her in the store, and I understand being scared about what's going on in the world right now, and people just come up to you and speak. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you got to deal with me, and I don't want to just see you during election times. I need you to have a forum. When are we going to have a forum so we can lay our grievances down in front of you? It's not in council, because in council you got some different stuff going on. But when can we lay our grievances down and then talk to you so we can go ahead on and get some of these things that we looking to get taken care of? And how long is it going to take? Yeah, well, if that's what people want to do, then that would be cool. But here's the other part about that. They have to be it. Now, the biggest thing that we have, and we always have these complaints, is we open business, the price is too high, it's this, that, and that. You have to support that business till it becomes independent. Because if you're talking about, and I will go back to this point, and I made this point several times, on Lippincott, right there by a hair salon, there was a former liquor store that was purchased by the McGee's, Miss McGee, and her husband. They turned it into a meat market. So yes, some of the prices were a little high, but they were independent. Okay, they were independent. And if they were independent, that means you're going to pay a little bit more. But because they weren't selling certain items in there, the store went out of business because it wasn't supported by the community. Meanwhile, another group of people that were there who were selling destructive items in the community, alcohol, all kind of other stuff, they people was running in there, staying in there all the time. Okay. And I agree with sister Audrey Muhammad, what she said as responding to opening a business. People have to want to open a business, know that it's going to be long hours, hard work, and it's not unless you find something in the market that's going to make an immediate impact. That's the only time you're going to have people come in and patronize your store. Right now, the North End, um, this store, new store, co-op, is supposed to open up on Wednesday. It's been a long time coming. I hope it stays open and it's legitimate and people go support it. I'll go take a look and then I'll make a decision whether I'm going to support it or not. I'm not going to be there Wednesday because I got to work. And they're supposed to have a ribbon cutting ceremony, supposed to open up all of it. I hope that is slightly different than what I've seen at the food co-op in Detroit. You know, that it has more legit, more, I'm not saying legitimate because they have natural things down there too, but it has more things that are helpful to people. You know, more health bit, more foods and items that are cleaner and more health conscious for people than what I've seen in the co-op in Detroit. You know, and that the store, the co-op uses local farmers to help support it, put food items in there. Let it, well, regardless of my thoughts, regardless of all the other stuff, I want it to be successful because there's no large store on that side of town other than the Kroger's in Mount Morris and then the Meyer in on Flushing on I'm sorry, Pearson Road in Flushing. You got a legitimate position there as a store. The question is it going to be run down or is it going to fail based upon rumors or what? Who cares? I want it to work. I want it to work, right? And I have my own personal views about certain things and certain people. That ain't don't stop me from going to the store. Now, if I see that it's not where it should be or what it should be, then I can choose not to invest. But I'm also not the type of person that's gonna say that I trust and believe in who and what we are and not invest in it because I can't have an opinion if I don't invest in it as well. If that makes sense. So I wanted to open. I wanted to be successful. And there have been people, Reverend Threlkett and a bunch of other people who've been fighting on the behalf of it to open and making sure that it's open is there for the people. That's the only concern. But the most important thing, family, is that we have to start being in tune with each other for each other. So if people want to start a gas station, let's start it. If people want to start a restaurant, let's start it. Let's do it. Let's start it. You know, and there are a few restaurants around here, and we should be always, the door should be flooded with us. We can't complain if we don't support. Okay, we can't complain if we don't support. We cannot complain if we don't support. Yeah, I think that's the what it costs to get in. So, like I said, I'm gonna find out. But I know people that have given their money for the co-op for a long time. It wasn't just recent. So That was the thing, is and why did it take so long for it to get to the point where now they're going to open it? But now that it's open, we want to see how it operates, who runs it. And I'm not being critical of them any more than I'd be critical of a Meyer or Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever other store that opens up, and then you supposed to have something different and you really don't. I want it to be successful, period. That's it. And that's all. Because 1,000 people that give, $250, that's $25,000. And that's a lot to do some stuff with. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know all the operational details, but let's support it and see what happens. And that's one of the best things that we can do. And then once you become a member, then you can have a view and an opinion. Okay, so that's our rant on politics this morning. Number 2, we have to work at getting becoming our most optimal healthiness. If that's a way to put it, I think that was a horrible way to put it, but we have to really work on our health. We really, truly have to. We sit around here and talk about mental health, but if you're not physically healthy, then the mental health doesn't mean anything. You have to be physically healthy, mentally healthy, and spiritually healthy. Now, I'm not whatever your spiritual practices are, then be in tune with them. However, you need to be in tune with them. But your discipline physically and your discipline mentally is also important. And I know, and I'm leading that up to this, that this is November, so we have the family holidays coming up or whatever in November. And then, of course, we have the other holidays that people are going to jump into in Christmas. And some people are going to go through some tough times with that. But at the same time, your how do I want to put this? Okay, so people, it's winter time and I'm gonna be stuck in the house. No, you don't have to be stuck in the house. Put some clothes on and go walk around the park, or go walk around the track, or go walk around the building, or go walk around somewhere, and so that you can just be out in the air, and that helps your health. Don't go and it's cold and I don't want to go outside, because the only time I want to go outside is when I need to. Well, that's fine. Find somewhere in your house that you can create a little workout station and keep moving. Whether it be on a bike, whether that be doing some weights, whether it be walking up and down the stairs, all of that. We have to be able to do that. Okay? We have to be able to do that. We have to make, because then we're excusing that it's winter time, and if you've lived a long time or any time, you know that it's going to be winter time around here. That's just how it works. That's the natural law of things. So get moving, right? I'm gonna make sure that y'all see that I was about 4 or 5 minutes late. So every time I'm late, I do jumping jacks before we start or before we get off. So I gotta do them, and that's good for me too. All right, get moving. Don't let the misnomer of something happening in the world that's been happening for thousands and millions of years since the existence of the world, that now it's snowing, and and we get, you're going to go through certain things when you've lost people. It's been a little over a year for my sister's passing. My brother's struggling with his health. you know it's hard, but it's not impossible. It's tough, but it's not impossible. You know, do I have my moments? Yes, of course I have my moments. Does that mean I'm gonna not be here with my family? Y'all? Oh, absolutely not. You know, make small incremental changes. How you eat. That don't mean you don't have cheat days. You're gonna have them, but because if you're working out, you're changing things, and you're gonna have cheat days. So when you have a cheat day, it's okay to have a cheat day, but what is not okay to do is sit there and quit and go like, I'm gonna let this thing get the best of me. That's when you form, you know, because if we don't do it in December, I'm definitely gonna do it in January. We're gonna start our book club back up. Start our book club up. Because at one time there was a book club over at the library with myself, Dr. George Moss, and a few other people, and it was named with after Catherine Williams, who had started the small museum here. She was in the Oak Park Business Center. She no longer resident of the city, and she's in Arizona now with her daughter because she was having some health issues and some health challenges. But I may think about doing that again. Who knows? I don't know. It's come across my mind because I've got some of the material that she had when she moved, and she requested I come and get it. So that might be something I try and start again because we need to have it. But get moving, eat healthy, have fruits and vegetables. You know, hey, get in your car and take a quick vacation somewhere where you just go somewhere else and get your head together for a little bit, long weekend, or just hey, Friday after work or Saturday after work or whatever. On Saturday morning, I'm gonna go somewhere and then turn around and come back Sunday evening. Okay. Do something. Don't sit there and just go, oh, I'm depressed because it's winter time. And I used to tell my sister that all the time. Oh, I don't see the sunshine. I said the sun's always shining, even with the clouds are in the way, the sun's shining. You got to know that. And what that would be our argument, our beef. Hey, look, sun shining. No, I don't see the sun. Yes, you do. Look up. Sun is always shining, even if it's nighttime. The sun's shining. So we have to change our mindset as well. We have to what changes are we making? What after I saw my daughter graduate from the army, I redoubled my efforts to get in better shape. And just in that little 2 weeks or 3 weeks since I've seen her, you know, and I've seen a little bit of results. This last week was kind of off because we had parent teacher conferences, kind of messed my schedule up, but I did a little bit of something. Oh, it's cold outside. I don't want to be in it. But just go get clothes in order for you to be able to deal with the cold. We spend money on a bunch of other stuff. Do that. And then you really ain't got to do much. You can go to Dunham's and go get those resistance bands and just go in your and somewhere sitting in a chair and do some work. Do something. Even if you don't want to go out to a gym. But have a goal. What do you want to do? And not just sit there and go like, oh, I'm gonna just wait till the springtime. You don't know what the hell. No, you can't wait till the springtime. That don't make sense. You got to keep moving all year. And what are you reading? We talked about that before too. What are you reading? What are you putting in your head? What are you watching? Because if we sit here and watch politics and the foolishness that's on TV all the time, it would go crazy. Because that stuff you can't control. You can't control what you eat. You can't control how much you move. You can't control what you read. Right. And a gallon of water is 8 pounds. So we kind of switched up. We talking about health now.
I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping.
Okay. All right. But what are you reading? Not just what you watching on video. Be glad you watching us, you know. But I think what was this sister's name? Miss Lewis. The name of the book that I was first talking about. If you're starting, it's called Destruction of Black Civilization. And we do have a book list, right? Okay. So it's in the book list too. And there's a bunch of different books that are in there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to restart for the 30,000th time one of my teacher's books. His name is Dr. Harold Cruz, and he wrote a book in the 70s called The Crisis of the Negro Intellectual, which talks about the reason why we haven't won anything. And that's going to probably be some fuel that, oh boy, when I start reading that, I already know what it's going to do. It's going to bring some fire.
Do you think? I think it's more time for we get some more intellectuals, some more, instead of, I get it. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I love sports, but I would like to see some more, more book smart people out here.
Well, you see, what's happened is we're here. But what people don't want to do is they don't want to spend it. But if you go to Detroit, there's a brother. I used to work with him, and I call him my big little brother. His name is Jamon Jordan. He runs a tour company in Detroit. He's actually the historian, the official historian of Detroit, the city of Detroit, and he runs a a tour called Black Scroll Network Tours. So if you go to Detroit, go check him out. Not an athlete, but a book smart person. We and because people have been given these crumbs, that's the reason why we don't have those persons anymore, right? On a nationwide scale like we used to. They're still there, and it's few and far between, but their people are still there. But it used to be, you had groups of students, people who studied, groups and groups and groups. But because people have gotten positions, because people have gotten positions and they've gotten this little slice of cake, things have become soft. And because you put the mic in front of the entertainers who get paid by other people, that's what makes Dave Chappelle unique. Because when they was trying to buy him, he took a leave and said, "No, I'm going to do this on my terms." And so because he is no longer owned by the system, he can say certain things, right? But people still have to like him in order to go see him. And I'm not saying that these people don't have certain views, but Malcolm also said that, if they pay you, then you got to talk based upon what I want you to say. So if not December, definitely January, we're going to start our book club, right? So I'm going to do the work in order to be able to find out what it's like, what it costs to rent a room, and then go from there. And then so yeah, we're going to start in January. Okay. And I want folks to know that I want you to come. Excuse me. Sorry, you all. It's dry. And I didn't bring any water, so that's my fault. But what else I want to talk about? Okay. The first book we're gonna start with is and I don't want some stuff is gonna be heavy and some stuff is gonna require, but we also bring in some other lighter stuff and look at that too. I don't want it to just to be everybody's yes I do. I ain't gonna lie. I want everybody to be angry and let's be on fire and let's go to work. That's what I want. First book we're gonna start with is Destruction of Black Civilization.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody that's gonna show up need a copy. And if you don't show up and you show up virally or virtually, then I also want you to um, have the book so you can follow along. Probably the first week of January, and the first book is going to be the destruction of Black Civilization by Dr. Chancellor Williams. Yes, Chancellor Williams. Yes, we can put the book list back in the chat. Because I think we had what, about 25 books?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about 25 books in there. You got anything to add, big bro?
Oh, you talking to the conversation?
Yeah, anything.
I'll put it up. It's the first one. She said, this from Sis Audrey said, Chancellor Williams, the
Yeah,
destruction
that's
of
the
Black
first one.
civilization.
Yes.
I was gonna try to drop the link in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, nah, hell, you know, I agree with you. I think that book would be a good one to start with.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was just sitting, like I said, I was listening. I'm waiting on you to start the book club.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
gonna
I'm
be
saying?
gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think we need some stuff like that.
Yeah. Because we have to start some things out of that.
Yeah.
You know. But we also have to be very careful that when people come in, how are they coming in? No. But I don't want to say order on Amazon, and I really don't want to say order it on or through Barnes and Noble. If you can find because where I originally got my first copy was when we had the bookstore down there on Saginaw, right? At the old mosque right there on Saginaw.
Brother Dre.
Yep.
That's where you got it from. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I got it before him. I got my copy from Brother Roy.
Gotcha.
You know. But you can see if Barnes and Noble will carry it. They definitely can get it, but you can order from Amazon. But I'd rather it be a black bookstore. And if you're in Detroit, there's some black bookstores down there that'll definitely have it.
Yeah, I had just got that too. I guess I'll put it on there. You see, it looks as though taxes are going to change on gas and oil in 2026. Owners will make more on small stores, gas station taxes, and tax on gas are changing in Michigan 2026. Wow.
Well, that's an expected change, right? So part of the reason why this government shutdown is still going on is to break certain things up on purpose.
Facts. You know what? I agree with you with that. I was watching something this morning, right? I was like, and because you know, did you see what Trump they didn't halted again, far as the SNAP benefits for the like. And that goes back when I say when you got these rich people, but you see they still partying and having fun.
Yeah, because they fine and they making money off the situation.
Yeah. That's even with they like, oh, it's Thanksgiving coming up. Because I was listening to one guy, but this is a guy who getting millions. I'm like, well, I might not be going because I'm like, dude, your pain ain't with the people gonna go starving.
Mm.
You know, what you a millionaire. How you gonna, you know, to me that Thanksgiving ain't the most important thing.
No, well,
feeding the people is more important. You know, they worrying about the Thanksgiving sales. Ain't this not the people share boycott?
See, if we do that, then that shows the people that are millionaires making millions of dollars and billions of dollars off of people, how we'll take our power back, right? But what people are typically not going to, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The same thing that happened before. We're talking about these boycotts. You get a plan for a year-round boycott. You can't just do a week or two, or from November 25th to December 2nd. That's a week. What does that mean? Nothing.
Right.
So, yes, that hurt some people, but at the same time, excuse me, at the same time, if you do a year like what we did in Montgomery, which we have the blueprint because we did it, if you do a whole year like we did in Montgomery, then that means that you can make some real legitimate changes.
Mm-hmm.
So in a week's time, what's going to happen up until November 25th in these next 2 weeks is people are going to go buy a bunch of shit from them stores.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're not going to go, but they covered for the week or so because they got enough stuff to cover themselves up until it's time for the thing to be over with. And then we're going to go right back into those stores after that.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a boycott, do it across the board and everybody.
No, that's what I'm talking about. It should be the whole nation should do it. Because everybody getting, I'm saying, fires on the snap. It shouldn't just be say Flint doing it. It should be the whole nation doing
it. But people are not interested in suffering, so to speak, for greater common good. Okay, the people in Montgomery were willing to work together to get to work in order to break the bus system. Well, I don't care if you got to get on the back of my bicycle. We're going to get there. We're going to walk. We're going to carpool. We're going to do whatever we need to do in order to make it happen. 381 days. We're not interested in doing that.
You have to put your foot down sooner or later.
Well, yeah, well.
You're going to have to sooner or later. You're going to be forced.
Right. But see, this is the thing. They're already forcing our hand right now with the removal of the benefits from people that they're trying to break anyway. Now, 42% of the population of European Americans, that's about 85 million people, get benefits. It's not benefits, right? So let's be clear. They're going to make you think that it's black folks and other minorities, but it's not. It's Europeans that receive more benefits. 85 million people. That's more than the whole total population of Africans in America and Latinos in America. 85 million people. What I'm saying is a boycott from November 25th to December 2nd, nationwide or not, is a bunch of bullshit. Because for a week, what are you really going to do? Who are you really crippling? You're going to cripple them for a week, but then you're going to go right back out there. And from December 3rd up until January, you're going to go buy your stuff. And you're going to stockpile your stuff, which I'm not saying you're not to do that, but we still going to stop us from going to then going to the store afterwards? No. If you're going to boycott it across the board. All the way across.
But I think that's what it was. It's calling for a national boycott. I don't think.
Yeah, but it's for 7 days?
No, it should be, I agree with you. You should do it for a year. You shouldn't celebrate no holidays.
You don't celebrate no holidays
Yeah.
because this holiday that's coming up and the next one that's coming up will make more money than everything.
Christmas.
Yeah. So if you're gonna do it from November 25th to November 25th to November 25th. You get what you need to be able to take care of yourself. And then what you don't have after that is you start to take care of each other.
No, I do believe with you with that, and boycott their games.
You boycott sports.
Yeah, cut the sports out.
You boycott everything. The streaming services, all of it. Turn it all up. Shut it off. And then you have something natural, real, and legitimate that you can really work with that's going to force them to sit down and go like, hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
We got to change how we operate. But you also have a list of demands as well when you go to the negotiating table.
Yeah, you got to have the right people negotiating.
Yeah, you can't have the people that's getting the most out of the ones that's calling for the boycott because they're getting the most out of the deal.
Anyway. I agree with you with that. I agree.
And so when people are talking about boycotting something, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and then leave them alone. And it's not about putting people out of business. It's about forcing these people who make determinations, decisions for you, whether you know they are or not, to change how they operate. We did it 381 days. We changed Montgomery, Alabama. We changed how they operate. They're still doing stuff because we going to fail back into it, but still. And in those days, if we decide to do it, then go get some things that you can read. Don't watch streaming services. I bet you they won't be $25 a month now.
You can mess up. I mean, but see that. But that's the thing. You got to be all on one accord.
Right.
That's the thing. You got to hope don't nobody walk across the line, the picket line.
Right.
That's what you got to pray.
Well, see, we also don't want to have happen as somebody to go out there and claim to be the leader of it, because the leader is the person that when you wake up and look in the mirror, you're the leader, not other people. I don't care who's calling for it. Well, just like we talked about that thing with Roland Martin and them calling for a national boycott of Target because of DEI programs and all this other stuff, but now you're still in Target. Stop going.
Facts.
And all of the money that we supposedly hurt them with, then what happened?
You had people they paid off.
Well, not only did they pay people off, but people turned around and gave them their money back.
Right, because remember they paid certain what was it, Kojic? The Kojic they paid off. Remember a lot of these people, like you said, the flock be the last ones to get the benefit of what
my point.
Yeah.
My point.
Put it on the screen.
Oh, what was it, the young lady?
I'll just put it up here for you.
Don't go to the preachers, bro. Don't go to the preachers. Don't go. See, there's the other part about this flock mentality that we have. It is said that we think that these persons have the word of God better than you have the word of God. Okay. When if your preachers, and they will, because we got election time coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're going to start having these politicians come to church. That's already crossing the separation of church and state because they're not coming to visit. They're not legitimate members of the church until it becomes election time because they know that they can get certain preachers to allow them to come into their so-called houses of worship, churches. I'm not calling them house of worship. Come into their churches, and then they're gonna force the flock. I'm sorry, the congregation. I didn't mean to say that. The I'm trying to
Clean it up.
no, I'm trying to put the words together. So, but they're gonna force the flock. Dang, I didn't mean to say that. The congregation to vote for him because he gave them something or some promise in return for me using your people to get elected. But you can't ask them no questions. And you have people, let me just say this real quick. You have people that clip coupons and they, hey man, go to them, find them coupon clipping mamas and grandmamas or whatever, and buy these stuff from them. Cause they just got stuff sitting on shelves and all this other stuff. There's groups of people around here that do a club where they clip coupons, take them damn coupons to the stores and go watch them, find them, watch them, and then buy your stuff from them. Because they got a storehouse full of stuff in their house. So we have to go back and study the model of what Montgomery looked like, where we carpooled, where we biked, where we didn't go to certain businesses that didn't take care of us. Yeah, well, people love, listen, now if you got a dog, don't that dog love to be rubbed on his belly? Okay, same thing. That's the same exact thing. When you said, brother Mark Hutchins said, like it or not, these preachers have oversized influence. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's people's fault. That's people's fault. And increasingly, the quality of the pastors getting lower and lower to the point where they just fundraise, but people love it anyway because people think they buying their way into heaven. I had to explain this to a brother yesterday, where on the papyrus of Ani, they have the weighing of the heart, right, of the person that died, and there's the scale of where they get the scale of justice from, right? They have a scale, and on the other side of that, they have Sekhmet. Oh boy! All right, Chris, you trying to start some stuff this morning, brother? And if the person's heart and his deeds, his or her deeds, are not as light as an ostrich feather, then the heart will be devoured by Sekhmet, and they have to come back and start all over again because they broke some of the laws of Ma'at. When what people are trying to do is still be dirty, but buy their way into heaven. So what do? So you have people like Myron Winans, what did I say his name right? Who said that if you don't give me $2,000 per person, then bro. Or what's the other brother that was that him too? They said we gonna lock the doors and you can't get out.
That was what's my man name? Damn.
Was it Sapp?
Yeah, Marvin Sapp. Both
okay.
Marvin Winans and Marvin Sapp.
And if you all are followers of these people, you are damn fools. And I said that last week, and I'm saying it again. You follow them, that's telling you. And then he chastised a grandmother who was there with her grandson for only giving $1,200. Well, I told you 2,000. Where? And there were men in the congregation, family. And yes, I'm rubbing my face. There are men in the congregation. Bro, for real? You gonna let this person disrespect you and their family like that? That $2,000 for to make something better, but we're gonna invest this money. We're gonna buy a farm. We're gonna do this. We're gonna buy this land around here. Not that. That's for him. That's for him. Both of them. It wasn't we gonna raise $40,000 from Marvin Sapp to put 3 or 4 or 5 students in the school. He ain't said nothing about that because that's not their concern. Uh-oh. But that's people's part. That's people's issues, bro, big bro. If people had their own understanding, and I'm not saying not go to church, but I'm not paying tithing for what? I have my own bills to pay. I'm not paying church bills. The church coffers, and I'm gonna let y'all understand where tithing comes from. And we did this before. Tithing comes from during the Pharaonic times when the temples would take 10% of the storehouse. They would take 10% of the storehouse of what people bought. You grew corn, you bring 10% of the corn in. You grew wheat, barley, you brought animals, you bring them in and put them over here. And then when lean times came, when the Nile on its cycle didn't flood enough in order to help fertilize the land, then when those lean times came, you could come to the storehouse, get part of what you needed in order to carry you over until the Nile resumed its annual flooding and made the land rich again. And this was going every 7 years. That's where that comes from. What has happened is these people, so we can talk about old Pharaoh. And old Pharaoh don't we got that story incorrect. Because the Pharaoh was very clear that not only was he and she the mouthpiece of God, but it was also their job to take care of their people. And they did so until invaders came in. So in the Bible stories, old Pharaoh was the one he wanted to destroy, only because, and remember this too, and I said this before, go study about Moses. Moses was a priest in the temple of On, knowledgeable in all the wisdom of ancient Egypt. But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use that warehouse, that storehouse that you have, that you collect every Sunday. And when people have issues, problems, concerns, you don't tell them pray harder. You're not praying hard enough. What you tell them is, hey, this is what we're going to do in order to make sure that you're taken care of. That's how that's supposed to go. It's not supposed to go where oh, you ain't praying hard enough, brother. You're not praying hard enough, sister. I don't know what to tell you. Meanwhile, I'm counting my bankroll over here. Or you brother Elliott, you ain't put enough money in the coffers and your huh? Oh, you want to play that game? But we let them get away with it because they consider themselves to be holy men. Every man, woman, child walking here was never born in sin. Every one of us is holy. That's some bullshit that we were given. Stop believing that dumb shit. Because then you have clowns like the Winans and the Saps and all these other people out here that we go running to every Sunday and Tuesday or Wednesday for Bible study, which they telling you what to study and they're telling you to learn your own interpretation of it for yourself. And we keep on following these clowns around and get absolutely what out of it? Nothing. Because if the church was doing its real job, then we don't have no poor. We don't have no homeless. Everybody's eating. That's what it's supposed to be about. People don't get it, people don't understand it, nor do they care. And that's where it's wrong at. They don't even study what that means, where it comes from, what it's about. So now you know. So the poor person that comes in the church, and it shouldn't be, oh, you coming in as you are. No, not how you dress, is who you are. We got that wrong too. Well, most of your people that's in the pulpit and been through some stuff and all of a sudden found God, and they decided at that point in time, then I'm gonna become a preacher because it's another way for me to just get over on people. Mm-hmm. I found God after I hit rock bottom. It's the craziest shit ever. God always been there, but God been in you first. But we don't preach that. We don't teach that. Well, you get it from here. Excellent.
I'll put it up here for people can see it.
Okay. A brother in Saskatchewan said that he got a digital copy of The Destruction of Black Civilization on Etsy for $5. And whenever you go to Thailand, man, safe travels. Well, not only should they have that, but they should also be able to make sure that if a person has needs and issues, they can help them out, whether it be the church or in the community. Right? They don't do that anymore. What's going on? What you need? Knock on the door. You know, and I get people want to be private because unfortunately you got folks that want to go out there and run their mouth. You know, if people didn't go, oh, well, I didn't know Brother Elliott was broke and poor, and he was, oh, see, I didn't ask you for all of that. I just asked you for help. Mm-hmm. And then they want to embarrass you to join the church just because you hit a hard time. But let me give a little tidbit about that. You hit a hard time. That's the God in you asking yourself who you gonna rely on. That don't mean you don't need no help. I'm not saying that, but you got to be your first set of reliances. You know, what can we do differently to make? And people go through stuff. Stuff happens. The question is how you gonna rely on you before you can rely on an outside source. Because remember when we first started talking about when we was first doing Black Watch, I showed you that presentation that showed Amenhotep the first, the third, and he had Haru and Set, one on one side, one on the other side. Mm-hmm. That didn't mean bad things wasn't going to happen in his life, but he had to choose which side he was going to be on. See, and Sister Denise even gave us a scripture. Anything else, big bro?
No, we good.
Okay. Well, family, we'll see you all on Tuesday. We don't have anything. I don't have anything extra going on schoolwork wise. So we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming. And we appreciate you. Salty Chef, like I said, we'll see you before you get out of here. And when you do leave, we want you and your family to have safe travels. And be careful. Hey, y'all, it's kind of snowy out here. If y'all around, just be careful. I know the snow hasn't stuck on the road yet, but it's supposed to get there. All right, family. Love y'all.